So I just wanted to take a quick minute and talk about AI art in games and the potential usage of it in games. And I'm not going to get too deep into the philosophy of this or anything like that, but my initial advice is to steer clear of this and not to use AI art in your game. I think it's far too risky right now, regardless of how the licensing is technically written out. I just wouldn't mess with it. To me, the AI generated art is too much like sampling music at this point, and I think that there would be a lot of legal risk. I don't think that anyone that has a very small game is likely to have an issue per se, but you could if you had art that was very similar to that, to art that was owned by, let's say, a more powerful company, somebody with lawyers on staff. You could get cease and desist letters. Who knows what kind of legal battles people might go through to protect their intellectual property. And I think it's a little bit unfair to the existing artists, only because they may have initially released their art to the public for any purpose, but I think this is a new purpose they could not have foreseen at the time. And if they find it offensive right now, I think the best course of action would be for art warehousing websites to simply allow the artist to re-opt in. So like just open up a new license, and for every single artist, just give them the opportunity to opt in if they would like to, and if they choose not to, then they go under a license that doesn't include the use of AI art. All they have to do is tag the images somehow, and then the AI art websites would have to be in agreement with this, and then their web crawler bots would go in and look for this tag. If the tag for use is not on the image, they can't use the image. It's that simple. And then everybody's happy. Nobody's upset. You could quell this really easily. So that would be my solution. Add a tag to the images and have the AI bots just look for the tag. If the artist hasn't opted in, don't do it. If you run artwarehouse.com website where you're holding all the artwork, just let all your users opt in if they want to, and then tag your images accordingly. It shouldn't be too difficult. But as a game developer right now, I would steer clear of this because I think it is way too risky. As I mentioned, because of the legal standpoint, I don't want any trouble with anyone. And not only that, even if I'm technically legally allowed to use the art, I don't want to piss off a bunch of artists right now. And there's a lot of artists that are upset about this and don't like it for whatever reason. And again, I don't know if they're correct or incorrect legally. I would suspect that, someone using your image as a reference and freehand drawing, right, is different from a computer pixel by pixel copying it and then just applying a Photoshop filter to it to change the eye color of the person. That to me is just not valid use. You can argue it is, I guess, but I don't like that. And if that leaves a sour taste in the artists, I wouldn't do it because I don't want to piss them off. And I don't want them to hate my work or come after me or just really not like me or, I don't want that kind of negativity. I want the artist to be happy, and I would be willing to be flexible. I hope other developers, I hope that people who actually have large amounts of money or stakes in this sort of thing also want artists to be happy, all right? And so listen to what they have to say. Give them an opportunity to opt out if they'd like to opt out. And I think that you solve your problem. It's not that hard. So just don't ignore it. I've seen this thing blowing up a little bit on social media. I've been seeing a lot of the AI crossed out image that's getting spammed everywhere. And hey, I get it. You want to hear a response from these places that are taking your artwork and you want some sort of action taken. I understand it. So for me, I'm not going to use that art. I'm going to continue to do it the old-fashioned way and just pay people for the license. And maybe I'll use it to try and drum up some rough concept art for myself, but I'm never going to use that as a production image. Best case scenario, I'd use it as a reference to pass to an artist and say, hey, draw me a character similar to this, right? That's the way that I like to do it, so I'm keeping it simple. Keep the artists happy. I don't think the artists are going anywhere. I don't think that AI art is going to replace artists anytime soon. I think that AI art is actually a lot more crude than I had initially even thought it was. I've seen some examples that were just ridiculous and were literally the AI art is just stealing the image directly and applying a Photoshop filter to like change the eye color. I thought that was like an eye-rolling, example, but it happens. So stick with us here, subscribe, join us on the channel, learn more about game development, and let me know what you think about AI art. Is it stealing from other artists? Is it not? Should they all just be quiet and accept it? Would you use it in your game right now? I mean, I wouldn't, I told you, but let me know why you think I'm wrong, or if you agree with me. I'd love to hear your opinion. So have a good one, and I'll catch you later.